Hello everyone, it's Mantas from Matiaka again. So welcome to part 2 of Pearson edexcel GCSE past paper. Okay, so first of all I'd like to mention that I have not checked these questions beforehand, just before the record, so might do some mistakes or errors because I'm just a human being. Right, so first of all, if you watched previous video, I've done some mistake on question number 4, so would like to start with this one. So first thing, when we see a frequency table and some range, most of the times you're gonna have to work out midpoint. Okay, so midpoint of those intervals. So straightforward, just add first value, second value, and divide by 2. So let's do that. So I'll just put extra column. Let's label it mid point, and here I'm just gonna be putting all the midpoints. Okay, so midpoint between 0 and 5 is 2.5, so I'm just redoing this question from previous video. Then 7.5, 12.5 goes to 17, and last one would be 22.5. So next thing, when you put those values, you don't put in on 5 or 0, you need to put those in midpoints. So put frequencies on midpoints. So let's show an example. So find midpoint here, so 2.5, and plot our frequency just over there. So put 1, then the next bit on 24, and where's 12.5, so halfway between 10 and 15 we put 13, so just where's 10, 11, 12, 13, just over there. 17.5, where's it, 17.5, and point of 11, and last bit on, we'll put 4 on 22.5. Okay, so next important thing, once we connect all the points, sorry for not using ruler, but in your exams you should, and once all those points are connected, you'll have to connect with whatever was the beginning of the first interval and end of the last interval. So we connect first point with 0, and last point was 25, so we just connect the ends to get nice smooth polygon. Right, so now I'll skip those because showed in previous video. So move for part 2, just move into question 9. Okay, so it's pretty much 100% that you'll get similar questions in your exam, so using solving equations using graphs. Okay, where's my mouse? Okay, so solving equations using graphs. Straightforward, you don't have to overthink anything, so you need to trust the line. So you need to trust that this line is 2y equals 3x minus 22, and the other line is given, well, it's not in standard way how we display the lines. Usually lines in GCSEs are displayed in, as a function of x, so let's say y equals some gradient and then plus y-intercept. So don't get distracted by way how they display. The only thing you need to recall that if we solve simultaneous equations, the solution for simultaneous equation will be intersection of two graphs. So just check where those two graphs intersect. So you can see it's on clearly that it's on 6, and make sure that you check with the scale. Okay, so scale goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And for y coordinate, it would be 2. Okay, all you have to do, just get the coordinate of intersection points, start with x and then move to y. So we've got 6 and 2. And that's going to be your solution. So just to display the answer, you say that the solution for this simultaneous equation is when x equals 6, y equals 2. What's the most common misconception is when we're swapping the values. So just make sure that you don't get confused where is x, which coordinate is y. And that's only one mark, but should be getting this into your pocket as well. Okay. So next bit is polygons. So this specific polygon, it's mentioned that we're working with pentagon, and check for the information given. So we've got two angles. So angles AED. By the way, all the angles are labeled with middle letter in representing the angle itself. So we get that angle AED, so this one, angle AED, is 4 times bigger than ABC. So where's ABC? Just recognizing where's angle which starts at A, goes to B, and ends up with C. So this angle. What we can do with this information, just display on diagram. So if we label angle ABC as X, what is the relationship between those two angles is straightforward. If we multiply this angle by 4, we should get AED. So just label it as 4, or X multiplied by 4, or just simply 4 lots of X. Okay, so that's first thing which will bring you marks. Next, we need to work out the value of AED. So just set the equation. We need to use the formula for interior angles. So to work out sum of interior angles, so sum of interior angles, you can look in your formula booklet. Without that, we can just need to understand that every single polygon is made out of triangles. Okay, so for example, if I make a pentagon, which is, of course, it's not perfect. We need to understand that it is made out of 3 triangles. So every single polygon can be split into 3 triangles, which sum of each of them will be 180 degrees. So a general formula for sum of interior angles would be number of triangles, number of sides, let's call it n, reduced by 2, as we can see clearly, we've got 5 sides, and only 3 triangles. Okay, so five-sided shape is made out of 3 triangles. Okay, so amount of sides reduced by 2 and multiplied by 108. So we get 5 take 2 times 180, which will be equal to 3 times 180. So altogether 540 degrees. So that is the number which we would get if we add all the angles inside this pentagon. So let's start. I'll start with, usually I would recommend to choose any angle, just go in any direction, clockwise or anti-clockwise. So I'm just choosing angle 120, so that way I know that I'm not gonna miss any of the angles. So let's start. So so we've got 100, so I know these. So 180, add up, scroll that down a little bit. So 180, add, where did I go to 180? Oh, my bad, I meant 120. 120 plus, so that angle's done, and plus 4x, that angle's done, plus 135 degrees, that angle's done, and a couple more to go, so 110. Got to put the degrees on those. So done, and last angle, finish off with x. What we've got here is sum of all angles, and we know that the sum should be equal to 540 degrees. So I just put equal to 540 degrees. Now it's just the case of collecting like terms, so just adding all the variables. So add 4x with 1x to get 5 lots of x. Next bit, add all the other numbers. So 120 plus 135 is 255, and 365 if we add another 110. So plus 365 equals to 540, and all we have to do just solve the linear equation. So 365 on both sides, get 5x equal to 5. We will want to minus 3 minus 6, we get 7, and we get 1. Okay, so we get 175. Divide both sides by 5 now, and x would be equal to 35 degrees, but it doesn't ask for x, it asks for AED. So next step is just to work out AED. That's right, AED angle will be equals 4 times 35, so just 4 times 35, which will equate to 150 degrees. Sorry, was it? No, my bad, not 150, because I just tried to use my mental maths. 140 degrees, ignore that 150, that's incorrect one. So next bit is give the answer and collect all the marks. 140 degrees. Move on to next question. Okay. So again, another 3-mark question. So edexcel exam board is really generous with the marks for simplifying. And again, so just check, write given expression in form of a times x to the power of b times y to the power of c, where a, b, and c, they all are integers. Okay, so let's use laws of indices. So when you get indices, you need to check in your booklets and recall all relevant laws of indices. So first of them is, if we've got a n times a m, which will give us sum of indices, so m plus n. In case of division, so if you've got a n over a m, that's gonna be a, and subtract the indices, and one more which is gonna be useful in this particular question is powers of indices. So a, and if we've got index which is affected by another index, we keep the base times indices together. Okay, so let's start working. Oh, forgot to mention one more. So if we've got a, b, if we've got product affected by index outside the brackets, that index is applied to every single term in that bracket, so that should be expanded as a, n, b, n. So these are the main ones. Of course, I'm not going to list them all, but just the ones which are useful in this particular question. Okay, so let's start with the numerator. Okay, so I'll start with the numerator. So what it means, we've got 6 squared using this particular, okay, and merge with this one. So 6 squared, then we get x 5 squared, and then we get y cubed squared. What happens here, I've just applied this, let's move it down a little bit. So what happened here, I've just applied the square to every single term inside this bracket. Okay, so and instead of working out straight away with the denominator, I would delay that and do denominator separate. Okay, so let's work out numerator first, and then we'll move to denominator. So 6 squared to get 36, then x 5 times 2 makes x to the power of 10, so x to the power of 10, and y 3, 2, so those powers multiply, so 3 times 2 get us with y to the power of 6. Okay, so that's our numerator. Now let's work the denominator separately. So first what we can do is numbers multiplied by numbers, so 3 times 4, so just doing 3 times 4 to get 12, and check the excess. I'll use one more. So if we've got any number or any expression without power, by default we treat it as a power of 1. Okay, so we've got x squared times x, which will make x to the power of 3. And last bit, y to the power of 7 multiplied by y negative 3. So we treat it as multiplication and subtract what should be adding the indices, but if it's negative we just subtract 3 from 7. So the result will be y 7 minus 3, which is 4. So now we've got our numerator and the denominator. So I can rewrite the fraction one more time. So we've got 36 x 10 y to the power of 6 over 12 x squared y to the power of 4, and work out each of these variables separately. So first bit, working out 36 and 12, so 36 divided by 12 makes 3, okay? And do division of x's, so x 10 divided by x squared, so 10 take away 2 equals 8. So what we do, x to the power of 8, because these 10 take away 2. Last bit, y, and again we get 6 take away 4, so subtract those. So 6 equal 4 equals 2, and that's the answer. So now we've got all the integers. A integer is 3, and B is integer again, which is 8, and last bit C is integer of y index, which is 2. So that would bring you also plenty of marks. Let's check. So it's 3 marks again. So moving to the next question, and probably we'll do the last in this video. So Martha plays game twice. It doesn't matter what game, just she's playing some game. So the probability tree diagram shows the probabilities that Martha will win or lose each game. So we've got first game, we've got second game. Probabilities should add up to 1 in each game, so let's check if that's correct. So 5 plus 3, yeah, that's 8 out of 8. The probability for second game is slightly different, so she's more likely to lose the second game. Okay, so now find the probability that Martha will lose at least 1 game. So now the key information here is lose at least 1 game. Okay, so let's work out the probabilities. So in order for Martha to win 2 games, we multiply probability of first game and probability of second game. So probability of winning 2 games will be probability of first. Okay, so I'll just label it probability of win in first game and multiply it by probability of win in second game. Okay, so probability of first game multiplied by probability of winning second game. So probability of winning first game will be 5/8 multiplied by 2/9, and we get probably in one of those questions where we don't need to simplify fractions. So just top times top, bottom times bottom, we get 10 out of 72. So that's the probability of win and win. Okay, so next bit, check the probability of win and lose after. So we'll have to work out probability of win first game multiplied by probability of losing the second. Okay, so let's check the probability. So that's 5/8. So 5/8 times 7/9, and when you work with probability trees, most likely you'll get same denominator all the time. So out of 72, and we get 35 chance to win and then lose. Okay, so now we fill in the rest. So I'm not gonna write these, just use mental arithmetic. So 3 times 2 is 6, 8 times 9 again out of 72, and to lose both games we do 3 times 7 to get 21 over 72. So now we've got each individual probabilities, and it asks find the probability that it will lose at least 1 game. Okay, so it will lose at least 1 game if we follow lose-lose. So we can take this. Now probability that it will lose at least game, we can say it lose 1 and win the second one, so it's still at least 1. Okay, then it could win and then lose, so that also meets our condition. And only the first bit we don't need this. Okay, so that doesn't follow our scenario because we need to choose only ones which has at least 1 loss. So for the last bit, add all the suited probabilities. So win lose, so add 35/72, add with lose and then win, so add 6 72, and last add both lost games. So chance for both lost games is 21 out of 72, which will add up altogether into 62 over 72. So that's one method. The other option is by basic theory of probabilities. So most important, like basic theory of probabilities, is that all the probabilities should add up to 1. Okay, so if we knew that, if we recall that rule, the other option would be get 1. Okay, so get 1, take away the probability which we don't want to use. So 1, take away probability of winning both, so take away 10 out of 72. That would also bring us to the same answer. And in those questions, if you're not asked to simplify, just leave as unsimplified fraction. Okay, and I'll get to question 13 during next video, because I don't want to make them too long. I hope that was useful. If you need any individual or more like personalized support, please let me know on Facebook or in comments. And have a nice afternoon.